Well, welcome along to this, the QIPCO British Champions Day press conference, where over the course of the next half hour, we will be unveiling the 5-day entries for this, the 5th renewal of QIPCO British Champions Day. We're also going to be hearing from some of the leading connections as they build up to this, the finale of the British and European flat racing season. And this year, let me tell you, it is going to be bigger and better than ever. Starting with the prize money, we've seen year-on-year increases to the effect that the purse for the 6 races this year is worth a staggering £4.1 million, making it still the richest race day on the British calendar and the only race day with 4 Group 1s as well. Now, in addition to celebrating our equine stars, we're also going to be setting the stage for the crowning of the 2015 Stobart Flat Champion jockey, the Champion Apprentice, with that one set to go right down to the wire between Jack Garrity and Tom Marquand, and we'll also be crowning the Champion Flat owner as well. Now, of course, none of this would be possible, I should say, without the incredible generosity of our sponsor Sheikh Fahad Al Thani and QIPCO, who very gratefully we're indebted to them in the British racing industry, who have extended this sponsorship right through until 2024, and we're hugely grateful for that ongoing support and enthusiasm for the British racing industry. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome along here to the press conference Sheikh Fahad himself, who has enjoyed a wonderful season, his first British Classic success, and hopefully, Sheikh Fahad, with runners and representatives in all of the 6 races, you could even have a winner on the big day to crown what's been a brilliant season.
We hope so. That's the main goal from the start of the season, is try and find a winner or two on Champions Day. So we'll try hard.
And good luck with that. And how proud have you been of how British Champions Day has developed over the last 4 years?
Very proud, to be honest. I think it's cemented itself as one of the leading race days of the year in the European calendar, in the worldwide calendar actually. So I'm very happy to see international participation into it as well. And
how beneficial for you has this join up between British racing and QIPCO been personally?
It's good, but we try to support racing. You know, we love racing. We love the. It's always been in our blood. So to try and help that, it's even better.
And it's fantastic that we're going to see the sponsorship continue to 2024. Every year this gets bigger and better. I imagine you've got a future and a vision to improve this until the very end.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, year on year we try to improve it, and year on year we try and see better horses run there, and that's what we're getting until now.
You certainly are. Well, fingers crossed for all of your runners, and many thanks for the ongoing sponsorship.
Thank you very much, Gina.
So thank you very much to Sheikh Fahad Al Thani, and we wish him the best of luck with all of his runners. Now, don't forget, you can get involved with us via social media throughout the course of the build-up to the big day on Saturday. Do remember to use the hashtag Champions Day, and anything you fancy, let us know. If you're going along on the day, let us know using that hashtag Champions Day. Now, just to bring you update on conditions before we move on to our 6 big races, speaking to Clerk of the Course this morning, it is officially good to soft on the straight course, good to soft in places on the round course. Now, it is set to be a dry week, but Chris Stickles has emphasised that generally it doesn't dry out too much at this time of year with those heavy dews, so we'd expect it to just be on the soft side of good, perhaps good to soft, come the races on Saturday. So let's move on and start with our first race, the jewel in the crown of British Champions Day, which is the QIPCO British Champion Stakes, which at 1.3 million in prize money still remains the richest race over 10 furlongs in Europe. Now, it's been won by some notable performers right back to the ever-popular Cyrus des Aigles, winning the inaugural running of this in 2011, and he'll be back to try and regain his crown. And who could forget the mighty Frankel, of course, bringing down his unbeaten reign with a stunning performance in this race back in 2013. Last year's winner saw the French break their 21-year drought to try and win this. We've got the entries for you at this stage, and we can have a look through them. The notable absentee, of course, would be Free Eagle. That one's not going to take his chance. Time Test as well is one of those that is out. We're all hugely looking forward to the Irish Derby winner, Jack Hobbs, lining up for trainer John Gosden, who also has Maverick Wave in the lineup as well. Taking a look down some of the other entries for this race, it's likely that Andre Fabre will won Vadamos. And we've also got Sumbal for Francis Graffard. So a really good lineup for this QIPCO Champion Stakes. Cirrus Des Egg will be looking to regain his crown. He's excelled at Ascot. He's been runner-up in this twice before. And the supplementary entry for Godolphin is racing history as well. But, of course, the headline act is Jack Hobbs. So let's welcome to the press conference as well his trainer, John Gosden. What a remarkable season he's had. Jack Hobbs himself has had a mid-season break. He returned with an excellent win at Kempton. And John, we were lucky enough to see just what sparkling form you had Jack Hobbs in last week when he worked at Newmarket. So you must be absolutely delighted with the form you've got him in.
Yes, we deliberately freshened him after the Irish Derby. He's a big rangy colt and didn't want a lot of racing hard through the summer. They've been busy. Any horses going for a classic programme, they're really on the go from February the 1st. So he'd done enough by the time he got to the end of June. Pleased with his comeback at Kempton, which was a nice race, nice day out for him. Worked well here. Look, it's a contentious race as ever, and you put that kind of race on for that kind of money. There are a lot of really classy, tough horses there. I think the key thing is the draw, believe it or not. Okay. Because if you ever stood at the mile and a quarter start at Ascot, if you get drawn wide, you hit that bend, swing your bottom pretty fast. So we'll all be hoping to be drawn 1 to about 8. And there won't be room for all of us there, so let's hope nobody feels hard done by the draw, because it's not like a straight course, obviously.
He's run the last few times over a mile and a half. Do you have every confidence he can be just as good over 10 furlongs?
Yeah, I mean, he won a mile and a quarter first time out. He was still very green and a little bit lost in the Dante. He won a mile 3 last time, but he has a lot of tactical speed. His father was best at a mile and a quarter. I think this horse is between a mile and a quarter. He's happy with both. And
were you happy with, presumably you will be happy with the prevailing conditions at Ascot?
Yeah, I mean, it's this time of year. I mean, the great thing is, if anyone remembers the sales here last year, there's a little stream along the bottom here by the big yard at the bottom, and it was just roaring with water throughout the sale last year. And let's face it, the ground went heavy. We're lucky. It's drying. It's going to ride on the slow side of good, obviously, but it shouldn't be too much an inconvenience to the horses, and he should handle it.
John, while we're at the wonderful surroundings of Tattersalls, we must mention you picked him up for 60,000 here at Book 2 last year. He's almost made $1 million in prize money. I mean, could you ever have envisaged that at the time?
No, but we liked him. Tom Goff and I, we liked him a lot. And Elsie was on the rope. He liked the sire, and he was the underbidder. He was on spec. I was on spec, which means we're buying them without a client. But fortunately, my wife was standing beside me when we bid, so she immediately got landed with the board, and that's for you. And Willie Carson, of course, bred him, and every time I went past the box, Willie was grabbing me to look at the horse, so I didn't have any choice but to buy him in the end.
Well, it's worked out well, and hopefully he can prove that faith once again on Saturday. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you to John Gosden. Well, another exciting horse in the lineup is the Corsican, who looked really good last time out in Group 3 company at Newbury, and I'm delighted to welcome his trainer, David Simcock. He'll be going up against the Irish Derby winner, Jack Hobbs Found, who'll also likely be in this race as well. But the Corsican, how has he been since his last run, David?
Yeah, he's come out of his race very well, and we're very happy with him. Did a good piece of work on Saturday, and all systems go. And
he's run on all sorts of ground, hasn't he? But really, what we saw last time on Good to Soft, that seems to bring out the best in him. Or not?
No, I think he's best on fast ground. I think his best performance this year would have been at Ascot in the Prince of Wales. He got stopped in his run, didn't get a great run through at all. Should have been a very good third. I think he's improved since then. I think he's running over his best trip, which is a mile and a quarter. I mean, running over a mile and a half and a mile 3 last time. And we're just really looking forward to running him.
And how long has this been in the mind as the end of season target for him?
We've had lots of options. We looked at it abroad, and after Newbury, we thought we'd roll the dice. And the fact that we're improving, the fact he does handle the soft side, and it will be that, it won't dry out, but it'll be perfectly raceable, and we're just quite quietly confident in the horse. I like the horse a lot. I think he's getting quicker, and he seems to be improving all the time. And
looking at the dangers, we've got the mighty Jack Hobbs to overcome. But do you feel that he's up to that Group 1 level? And who do you see as the main dangers?
I think Jack Hobbs is the standout horse, and I think he's a fair way above the majority of the field. And then it becomes almost a bit of a lottery. I think what John said about the draw is massive. That 1.25 miles going into Swinley Bottom. I certainly would like a 1 to 5 draw. And it looks like a bigger field than we first expected. Plenty have stayed in. Very impressive Godolphin runner has been supplemented. No, listen, it's not going to be a formality for any horse, and it's been a long season for all of them. So whatever turns up fresh and on its day, you never know.
Well, good luck to you, David.
Thanks, Gina.
Good luck to David Simcock with the Corsican in what looks like another stunning renewal of QIPCO Champion Stakes. Do get in touch with us. Do you think Jack Hobbs will prevail and land another Group 1 for John Gosden? Or do you think it could be something like the Corsican? Could it be Founds, who was so unlucky in the Arc, or Racing History, who's been supplemented to the race for Godolphin? Use the hashtag Champions Day and let us know what you think. Right, let's move on to the QIPCO Queen Elizabeth II Stakes, which is the richest mile race in Europe. It's been won by some wonderful top performers, the likes of Acceleration, Frankel, of course, as a 3-year-old, Olympic Glory, and last year the French breaking that 21-year duck to win it with Charm Spirit. They hold a strong hand again this year with none other than Solo. For Freddie Head, last year's winning trainer, we were promised the big duel on the Downs earlier in the summer. Could this be the day that we see it? Solo versus Gleneagles. Well, they're both still amongst the entries on what is a stunning lineup for this, the QE2, including Territories for Andre Fabre, who was second, of course, in the Guineas and also won the Prix Jean Prat since there. Looking down the other entries, we've got the likes of Top Notch Tonto, who ran so well in this a couple of years ago on softer ground. Elm Park, well, Andrew Balding has decided to go for this race and not the Champion Stakes, so dropping back to the mile once again like his last run at Sandown. Integral, the mare, she's looking to get back to winning ways after finishing in behind Esoteric last time. And we've also got Cody Bear, who's been hugely exciting in the latter half of the season for trainer Clive Cox. And he is one of the trainers I would like to welcome along to the press conference, along with Kevin Buckley, representative for Gleneagles, who can shed some light on whether we might see the dual Guineas champion this weekend. Let's start with Kevin if we can. Now, we're all eagerly anticipating his return. Kevin, what's the latest on him, and will we see him on Saturday?
Well, he's in very good form. Spoke to Aidan again this morning. He's going to do a little piece with him during the week. Obviously, the eye is on the weather. That we all know the forecast is good, but as Chris Stickles has said, there's very little drying going on down in Ascot, so we've all got our fingers crossed, but hopefully he will be able to show up.
Now, we all know what he's capable of on his day, but he has missed a few engagements this summer. I mean, how difficult is it from a training perspective to keep him peaked and keep him on the go throughout?
That's the key question, to think that he was ready for the Sussex Stakes, looked at the Prix Jacques Le Marois, looked at the Juddmonte International, and obviously the Irish champion. Of course, he did travel over to York and was paraded there. But it's been disappointing. But obviously, the weather we've been dealt with this year, it's been very difficult. And as we clearly know, he's a much better horse on good to firm going. And I know he handled the good to yielding and the Irish Guineas that day, and some may consider that was one of his most impressive performances, handling that and still doing what he did. But there we are. We have to we can't change the weather.
Well, fingers crossed we get to see him on Saturday. And Kevin, while we've got you, Found for the Champion Stakes, Tapestry for the Fillies and Mares, both fillies who ran in the Arc. What's the latest on those two?
Yeah, they're both in good form. Found obviously had quite an easy race. Unfortunately, she was racing on the inside against the rail. When she pulled out to make a move, she got quite a hefty bump. So Brian, was fairly tender on her. So she's in very good shape. She's obviously run around Ascot before, and the intention is to run her, and she's a versatile filly ground-wise. When she won the Royal Whip at the Curragh, that was on soft ground, and equally she can run on good to firm. So versatility is the key with her.
Brilliant. Well, and Tapestry?
Yeah, Tapestry. That's the plan. Fillies and mares for her. Bit disappointing in the Arc, to be honest with you, but she's come out of it fine. So we'll take a look at that as well. She's
only had a couple of runs, so there could be more to come. Best of luck with all three of them.
Thanks, Gina.
Now, it's been billed as a duel, but one man who'll be looking to upset the battle between Solo and Gleneagles is Cody Bear's trainer, Clive Cox, and he could well do it. He looked imperious last time at Goodwood, and he will suit the underfoot conditions, presumably, Clive.
No, he'll be very much at home on that, and he's had a nice chance to freshen up from the Celebration Mile, and we've been thrilled with his progress throughout the year, so very much looking forward to Saturday.
How much has he come forward? Because he is a horse that missed the spring through an infection, but he just seems to have taken leaps and bounds on the track. Has he shown you that since Goodwood as well?
Yeah, I'm thrilled. I mean, he's a horse that we've always held in high regard, and I'm just delighted the way he's progressed every step of the way, really. And he's been very convincing, albeit this is another step up. And we're very much respectful of the opposition, but we're going there with a happy feel.
He hasn't always been able to tuck in or get maybe the tactics that you'd like in some of his races. Does Gerard Mosse retain the ride, and is he tactically versatile if you need to take a pull?
Yeah, and this was always the plan, which is why we had Gerard on boards early in the year, and he knows a lot more about the horse now, and hopefully that will be used to good effect.
So confident of a big run on Saturday?
Hope so.
Best of luck.
Thanks, Gina.
So thank you to Clive Cox. Of course, Solo for Freddie Head is the other headline act, unbeaten in his last 8 starts, including in the Sussex Stakes and, of course, the Queen Anne at Royal Ascot as well. What a match-up. Will Gleneagles come out on top? Will it be Solo? Or do you fancy something like Cody Bear or one of the others to get involved? Let us know using the hashtag Champions Day. Let's move on to the QIPCO British Champions Sprint, which this year is now a Group 1, and this has benefited from the biggest boost in prize money, some 71% increase from 350,000 last year, now worth an incredible 600,000. It's been rewarded by some top sprinters. This year, of course, with the strengthening of the 3-year-old programme, we see some really competitive horses in here, and as we take a look at the 5-day entries, it includes plenty of top-class 3-year-olds. Muhara, who we'll talk about, of course, the headline act very shortly, but we've also got the Sprint Cup winner for Henry Candy, the hugely exciting lightly raced Twilight Sun, Ade, the Hungerford winner for William Haggis. Amongst the older sprinters, we've got some returning champions in here. Marek, who won this back in 2012. Danzino, who got back to winning ways for Mick Appleby last time, and he's always had the confidence this is a Group 1 horse. And interestingly, this year we've also got our first international runner outside of Europe on British Champions Day, and that comes in the form of the Singapore-based Emperor Max, who's finished runner-up in a couple of Group 1s. We're delighted to welcome his trainer Stephen Gray, and also the sprint king of the moment, trainer Charlie Hills, who runs Muhara and Strathburn in the big race. So we'll welcome them to the press conference now, starting with Charlie Hills, if we can, who runs Muhara, who looks well on course to being crowned the champion European sprinter. He's won 2 of the British Champion Series races, and then most recently in the Prix Maurice de Guise. Had a little bit of a break, Charlie. How's he been since then?
Yeah, he needed a break, really. Had 3 pretty hard races, quite quick succession. So, we freshened him up, and I couldn't really be more pleased with him. We took him to Lingfield about 10 days ago, just for a little spin around there, 6 furlongs, which Paul was very happy with. So, we're going there, obviously pretty confident.
And he's been an absolute revelation since the start of the season. Is he the type, as you so often see with these 3-year-old sprinters, that's just got stronger and bigger throughout the course of the year? Yeah,
I definitely think the break, with this break, he's definitely, his weight's obviously higher than what it was when he last ran. So he's physically done well for that. He's got a huge amount of talent as well. So, and we know he likes Ascot. I'm looking forward to a stiff 6 again.
And are you happy with conditions?
Yeah, obviously it's on the slow side at the moment. Obviously dry forecast, which will help. But I imagine it'd just be on the slow side of good, really.
And you've got Strathburn in the Qatar Racing colours, who's a horse I know you've always held in such high regard, and you really vindicated that with an excellent second in the Sprint Cup last time. Are you confident coming into this with him?
Yeah, he really seems to have thrived since Haydock. I really could not be more pleased the way he looks, and he did a great bit of work last week. His horse is going to get better with age, but he could run a really big race on Saturday.
Yeah, you always have that twinkle in your eye when you talk about Strathburn. How close do you think he is now at home with Muhara?
Well, he's improving, so I don't know. They never worked together at all. But looking forward to Saturday. With Strathburn, whatever he does this year is going to be a huge bonus.
Brilliant. Well, good luck with both of them.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
So Charlie Hills there, who seems to hold all the aces for that race. But Stephen Gray comes over from Singapore. He has enlisted the services of an Australian-based jockey in Corey Brown to ride Emperor Max, and we're delighted to have our first international runner. Stephen, just tell us when did the horse get here and how's he settled in?
He turned up here last Saturday and he's done fantastic actually, and it's a new experience for all of us, and it's probably a big challenge to come here, but he's the sort of horse that can do it, and he's got a fantastic temperament, and he probably settled in quicker than we did.
Now, tell us a little bit about his form in Singapore and how you think that'll stack up over here.
Well, we don't really know how he'll stack up here, and but at the end of the day, he's a very, very good horse, and he's run second in the 2 international sprints there. And his first year, he went right through from a 1-win horse right through to taking on the best and running second. And we've taken a bit of time with him, and I think he's probably had what we could say an English preparation. He's only had 3 starts this year. And he ran third first up, beating a nose in a Group 1 sprint against our best horses, and another stride he wins. Then he went to the international sprint second up and ran a length and a half second, and that was a very, very good run. But we have done our research, and handicap-wise, his ratings internationally, he's right up there.
And can you explain the reason for opting for an Australian jockey in Corey Brown?
Well, reality is Corey rides him in Singapore, and when you come on these ventures, you do it as a team, and Corey's rides him all the time, and he's running some fantastic races on him. So, you know, we fully expect you do these ventures, and it doesn't usually work, but sometimes it does. So if it does work, and we'd like to have Corey aboard, because that's what we feel it's about.
Stick with who knows him best. Well, we wish you the best of luck, Stephen, on Saturday.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Now, we've also got a supplementary entry for this QIPCO British Champion Sprint, and that is the Tin Man for James Fanshawe. He seems to be coming on really nicely, certainly looked really impressive last time out. So he's one to add to the list as well. So another stunning lineup for the QIPCO British Champion Sprint. Will it be the 3-year-olds or will it be the older horses that dominate? Let us know using that hashtag Champions Day. Let's move on to the QIPCO British Champion Fillies and Mares Stakes then. This, throughout the season in all our British Champion Series races, has been an incredibly strong division. There's been some wonderful performances throughout the course of the year, and I imagine our big finale is going to be no exception. Of course, we've seen some really good winners in the past, Dancing Rain, Group 1 winners, and Madame Chiang, who is lining up again for trainer David Simcock. So let's take a look at the entries as they stand for this race. Our supplementary entry here is Journey, who sprung a bit of a surprise, winning at 33-1, very impressively at Salisbury last time for John Gosden. Tapestry, we've heard from Kevin Buckley on that one's chances. Madame Chiang looks to defend her crown. Bocca Bocciata in the field. Found is also amongst the entries, but she's likely to go for the Champion Stakes. C. Khaleesi would have to be in with a good chance for Francois Duman, a French raider here who was behind Trev in the Vermeil, but ran a very good race in the Yorkshire Oaks. And that is where we also saw Covert Love, who since then has gone on to an incredible Prix de l'Opera success, and her trainer Hugo Palmer joins us here at the press conference this morning. Covert Love is one of 2 fillies we're going to be talking about, along with Rafe Beckett's Simple Verse, the Ledger winner. They're also going to go for this 12 furlong contest and drop back in trip. But Hugo Palmer first, a wonderful season with Covert Love, so good in the Opera last time. Now, to the eye, the untrained eye albeit, looked like she had quite a hard race. How has she been since then?
She's been amazing since then. I'm actually kind of bowled over by how fresh she's been since she came back. She went all the way to Paris. How does what you say look like a tough race? But she barely blew afterwards. She lost 8 kilos in the whole thing, which, I mean, they can lose more than that racing at Newmarket and coming home to Newmarket. So she's taken it incredibly well. She's squealing, she's et up all the way, and we're working towards running on Saturday.
And of course, all the questions prior to the Opera were over the trip. So same questions again, going back up. Obviously holds no fears. But I mean, is there a trip she's better at, or is she just a very, very good filly who can do both?
Well, look, I think she's certainly outstayed Jazzy Top on Sunday. We got headed with a furlong and a half to go, and then with a furlong to go. But I think if we got another half furlong, we'd have won by further than we won, and if we got another quarter of a mile, we'd have won won even better. So she won the Irish Oaks going away from the field. I've got no concerns about coming back to a mile and a half.
And happy with the conditions on Saturday for her?
Yeah, I'd hate to see it rain. That would throw a real spanner in the works. I've always felt with her, provided the predominance of the ground is good, we can have bits of firm and bits of soft on either side of that good, but as long as good is the main word in the going description, which I think there's a pretty good chance of it being that on Saturday, then I shouldn't be too worried about the ground.
And as we saw last time, you've always been happy if there's not the pace on to let her bowl on. I mean, obviously we'll wait and see what happens on the day, but would you be happy to do the same again if that's the case?
Yeah, we've never... Well, actually, to be fair, in France, that was very deliberate. I said to Pat, get out there, get your fractions right, and draw the speed out of the French fillies that are used to sitting and sprinting. Make sure that they don't have that sprint. And he did it absolutely. He gave them a riding masterclass, I have to say. But we didn't make all in the Irish Oaks. We jumped and we went forward. She likes to go forward. She won her maiden sitting last at Chelmsford. So we're not going to get in a battle for the lead. We're very happy to take a lead and see what happens in the race.
Well, good luck on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
And what's been a wonderful season for Covert Love. It's also been a great season, capped off by a classic victory for Simple Verse, and in the Qatar Racing Silks, she will be going for this Fillies and Mares race, and her trainer, Rafe Beckett, joins us now to talk about her chances. Again, similar question to Hugo. In the ledger, it looked like she did have a hard race, but presumably she's pleased you since then.
Yeah, she worked this morning, Gina, and she went well. Very happy with her. So, we run.
And what's been the reason behind going for this and not the longer distance race, Rafe?
Running against her own sex. Yeah. I know she's beaten the colts, but it's tougher taking on the older colts and geldings, so that's why we've plumped for the Fillies race.
And you're confident that she can be equally effective over this sort of trip?
Yeah, I think she's improved as the years gone. Well, it's clear she's improved as the years gone on, and she's battle hard, and now I don't think a mile and a half will hold any fears.
And conditions, are you happy with those?
She doesn't seem very dependent. She went on fast ground in the summer, and so that wouldn't worry me at all. No.
And she's been a filly who's really come into her own towards the second half of the season. I mean, has she surprised or impressed even you with the leaps and bounds she's taken forward?
I think it'd be fair to say she's surprised herself, never mind the rest of us. Yeah, it's been great fun. It's been a great trip with her, and hopefully we can finish it off on Saturday.
We cap it off with another Group 1. Best of luck, Rafe.
Thanks, Gina.
So that's Simple Verse who goes for this race in the QIPCO British Champion. Fillies and Mares, will it be her that comes out on top, or do you fancy Covert Love? Make sure you use that hashtag Champions Day and get in touch with us via social media. So let's move on to the QIPCO British Long Distance Cup, which, as we mentioned, could have been the spot for Simple Verse, but she's not going to line up in that. So let's have a look at the entries, if we can, for what will kick off this grand finale in the long distance division. It's now a Group 2 contest. Dermot Wells obviously got a very good record in this. He's won it with Rite of Passion, of Passage, I should say. Forgotten Rules, who also recontests here. The supplemented entries here are Flying Officer, Hidden Gold, and Amour de Nuit. We've got Agent Murphy for Brian Meehan, who was an excellent second in the Irish St Ledger. Clever Cookie has been one of the stories of the season for Peter Niven, who was, of course, bred by his mother and won good races earlier in the season at Chester and York. And he feels that the stiff 2 miles will really bring out the best in him. Alex, my boy, Andreas Fuller, missed Arc Day due to the ground, as did Litigant, the Ebor winner, so plenty of those coming here as well with good chances. And, of course, in the Qatar Racing colours for Sir Mark Prescott, Palasator, winner of the Doncaster Cup last time out. But let's welcome Brian Meehan along, who's going to talk about Agent Murphy and his hope in the race, who will be stepping up in trip for the first time. Of course, quite a lightly raced 4-year-old Brian, and one who I imagine you hold in very high regard. That was an excellent run last time.
Yeah, he's been very consistent all summer. Really pleased with him. He looked very good at Newbury, and he was consistent at the Curragh the other day.
And have you always had this step up in trip and this race in mind for him?
Yeah, very much. I think the Irish Ledger was a big target for him, and this made sense to follow up with.
And obviously that top performance came on a little bit of give underfoot. Would you be happy with conditions, or is he not bothered?
Well, I think he's fine, really. I mean, he looked very good at Newbury when there was cutting the ground that day, but I think generally he's pretty versatile as far as the ground is concerned.
Obviously you're going to meet some of the more battle-hardened stayers in this race. Do you believe he can step up to this level, and who do you see as the dangers?
Yeah, I think it looks a very open race, really. I think personally he's the horse that they all have to beat. I think he's getting pretty battled hardened himself, certainly after the Curragh the other day. I think he's in really good shape. Looking at him a couple of days ago before I come up here, I haven't seen him look so well all year. So I'm pretty confident with him.
Brilliant. Well, best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
So confidence is high. Has that been infectious for you? Well, it certainly has me. Big chance, Agent Murphy, on Saturday in the QIPCO Long Distance Cup. Now, finally, we'll take a look at the Balmoral handicap, which is, of course, the big betting race of the day. It's the richest mile handicap in Europe with 250 grand in the pot. This is just the second running of this race, and the inaugural running was won by Bronze Angel, who was ridden by Louis Stewart, trained by Marcus Tregonning. He had a wonderful season last year. He tried to repeat his feat in the Cambridgeshire, which he won immediately preceding this race last year, and just finished down the field, but it was still a notable performance from this horse at Doncaster prior to that, so he comes in good form. Amongst the entries then, if we have a quick look down, then we got some old favourites, the Royal Hunt Cup winner GM Hopkins, Chill the Kite, who won a qualifier for this race at York, in there for Hughie Morrison. Bolty Boys is in there for Brian Ellison, who won the Suffolk Stakes back in May. Sacrificial in the Qatar Racing colours for Jare Lyons comes over and looks to have a real favourites chance. But let's welcome the trainer of Bronze Angel to the floor. An incredible win in this last year, after an incredible win in the Cambridgeshire. Marcus, on markedly different conditions both days. I must ask you, how close were you to even running this horse? I imagine you did have second thoughts about pulling him out last year.
Well, it's obviously, he won the Cambridgeshire extremely easily last year, and it was an afterthought. But there was nothing to be lost, we thought. I walked the track, and I thought the ground would be too testing for him, so it certainly was a pleasant surprise. But of course, he's a lot stronger these days, and he's sort of Ascot ground strange. I don't know. It's sort of it goes through onto sort of sandy base, and I don't think it's like sort of heavy ground like it is at other race tracks. So he got away with it.
And what did you make of his run in the Cambridgeshire, and how's he come out of that?
Well, it's kind of his right. It was a sort of non-event for him. I think the loose horse didn't help, and I think he just got checked at the wrong moment, and he's quite tricky like that. He's hard to get going again, and obviously it wasn't his running. The horse was absolutely fine, came out of it the next day and went out in the field and was really fresh. So I think he's back to where he was again, and we'll just have to see. But he seems in very good form. But he's got more weight than he used to have, and but he's still in very good form.
Did that run at Doncaster give you every encouragement that this year he's as good as ever?
Oh, I think he's definitely as good as ever. But he just takes a bit of knowing, and Louis Stewart will ride him again at Ascot, and I think he gets on with him very well. We don't always have a going day. I think that's the top and bottom of it. And we didn't have a going day on the Cambridgeshire this year. But he's won 2 Cambridgeshires and an awful lot of prize money. I think sometimes the owner forgets how to count her prize money. I'm being a bit unkind, but but he's won a lot of prize money. So he's been a real flag bearer for us.
He really has, and hopefully he can collect a little bit more for you on Saturday. Good luck.
That'd be lovely, yes. Thank you, Gina.
So thank you to Marcus Tregonning, trainer of Bronze Angel. We're going to welcome John Ivan Duke along to the press conference as well now from William Hill to give us the latest prices. This, of course, being the big betting race of the day, the Balmoral handicap. The entries having just come out, so I imagine markets are taking a little bit of shape. But where's the money been going in this race in particular, John?
Well, the Balmoral handicap looks an interesting race. It's certainly wide open, about 10 to 1 the field, but of the money that we've seen so far, we've seen the likes of Sacrificial pretty well backed. Obviously, he ran a good race in the Britannia. We've seen that one supported. Of the others in the lineup, Buckstay, that'll be right there as one of the favourites, probably the best backed in the race so far.
Brilliant. And before we let you go, best backed horse of the entire meeting for QIPCO British Champions Day?
It's all of the shorties. Jack Hobbs will be very popular, as will Muhurra as well.
Brilliant. So we'll keep an eye on those two. Thank you to John Ivan Duke with the latest market moves. Now, don't miss out on this extravaganza of racing. 4 Group 1s, 4.1 million in prize money, and you can be there. Do head to BritishChampionSeries.com to get your tickets. The Premier enclosure is just about sold out. Still tickets for the grandstand available at £25. Make sure you're there for this, the 5th renewal of the QIPCO British Champions Day.